All right, we're back with one of our Power at 3 interviews. You as the consumer, Millie as your mortgage guy, and one of our industry experts asking 5 or 6 questions to make sure that we take care of you, your family, and your pocketbook. Today we have Sheena Hanson, certified financial planner from Uncommon Sense Investing. She's got a degree in finance from UW-La Crosse, and she has her Series 7, 63, 24, and 53 license. Sheena and I have been friends for quite some time. She's a great gal, and I love the fact that she took some time to hang out with us and give us some advice. Sheena, how you doing?
Hey, Millie. Glad to be here. Thanks for having me.
I love your view.
It's beautiful. Yeah, looking out across the Fox River. It's not so bad on a nice summer day.
Yeah, we finally got some cool weather, too. I mean, last week I thought I was going to melt.
Who didn't?
Well, hey, you know what we do on this Power at 3 thing. We're trying to make sure that consumers get an unbiased and pretty transparent opinion about what to do with their money, how to save time, and get where they want to be in whatever their American dream might be in regard to wealth, liquidity, equity, so on and so forth. You know, one of the things that I know you and I have joked around about, and this comes up a lot, I mean, we're in a real DIY society now. Everybody wants to do it themselves. You got the E-Trade babies at the Super Bowl. I mean, those are like the best commercials. Scottrade with their cheap transaction fees. Everybody seems to think they can do their investing on their own. What are the advantages to working with an advisor like you?
Well, Emily, there's several advantages. I think the biggest when it comes to investing is objectivity. The professional financial advisor, they're objective in nature. They don't have any biases towards your life or your goals or where you want to be. And they take that approach in managing money. That's kind of what we do here. I think of myself in terms of a DIY attitude, and you can think that for any kind of service industry, whether it be professional or just taking care of your lawn. You can't call yourself the expert when you actually aren't. I read a study the other day done by Delbar, and they took a look at a 20-year period. And when comparing the general stock market performance versus the individual investor, performance numbers varied significantly. The market, they were up about 9%, whereas the individual investor, they only made out on 3.8% of that. Now that's a significant difference in performance, and the only reason for that is because the individual has a brain and they know when to buy and sell at the wrong times. So to put that objective person in there and get through the bad days is more important than one might think over the long term.
Right. Well, and we talk about it here all the time. If you think hiring a professional is expensive, try hiring an amateur first, right? And it can get real expensive if you're the amateur trying to do it for yourself.
No kidding. And the sad thing about it, too, is that, you can't take the do-it-yourself approach, but you'll probably lose a lot of money that way before hiring a professional. So it's like, let's try to avoid that.
Yeah. Nobody likes learning the lesson the hard way.
Don't we all?
So who's most likely to benefit from professional investment services? Like, who do you find coming through your door that gets the most bang for their buck working with someone like you?
Well, in terms of savings and investing, for most people out there, there's a natural progression into investing. First of all, if you have a job, likelihood is that you have an employer that offers you some kind of retirement benefit program, say a 401k or some kind of vehicle for you to put a savings amount into. So that's kind of step one. People are funding their employer plans before they would come to someone such as myself in terms of retirement. Now, going on to the next phase, you might not even be thinking about the retirement, but maybe you want to send a kid to college. So savings for that kind of a goal is definitely next on the rung. Outside of an employer retirement plan, if you wanted to start an individual retirement plan outside of that, that's another consideration. Anyone who wants to start an IRA would likely want to see a financial advisor.
Right.
Again, can you do it yourself? Sure, you can, but you don't know if you're really on track or if you're in the right place.
Well, and you know what I find with some of our clients that are doing the DIY thing is, man, Uncle Sam can hammer you. I mean,
exactly.
When I talk to pros like you, and when you guys structure this thing, it's not just about growth of the cash, but it's sheltering people from Uncle Sam and these tax implications. Especially, you know, what made me think of that is when you were talking about saving for kids' college. You know, I know there's vehicles out there where, in regard to what the kid might choose to do at the age of 18 or 19, where you can kind of skirt from some of those tax implications. People not only leave money on the table by not using a pro and taking advantage of the market, but, man, can they lose a lot of money by not investing in the proper instruments and Uncle Sam comes knocking.
Exactly. I mean, that's kind of a saying that we have here. It's not what you make sometimes, it's about what you can keep. That's half the battle.
Yeah, very cool. Very cool. What is, good segue, what is the biggest mistake most people make in terms of investing?
That's a good question because there can be a lot of mistakes out there, but I think the biggest one in terms of having a life event, maybe having a kid, retiring, maybe an inheritance happens to you. People get these windfalls or they all of a sudden come into this substantial amount of money and they don't know what to do with it. So a lot of times, even if they go and see a financial advisor, they just kind of want it to be done with. They'll put their money with that person without shopping around and doing their homework. Because honestly, Millie, this business is the breadth of how advisors practice is so wide. You know, there's various modes of compensation. There's various modes of the freedom and flexibility that each financial advisor has depending on how their business is structured. So I would really say that if you are struggling with, the investment management who you're currently working with, or if you're just looking for someone to help you out, go and at least see 3 different men or women just to get an understanding of how different someone might actually make a recommendation for you, because it's really going to vary.
We talk about that too. I mean, one thing that consumers forget is they hire you and they hire me. So I tell them all the time, you're the boss. I mean, you're interviewing me. I'd be humbled at the opportunity to have you as a client. I know you address things the same way. You're not stuck with your grandpa's financial planner.
No, and Millie, on top of that, too, is that most people, even with their existing investments, they don't know what they have, why they have it, or how much they're paying. Those are the 3 biggest things in investing. And if you don't know those 3 things, go to someone and at least ask and get an objective view. And if you don't know why you have some kind of investment that you have, it's not too late to make a change.
Right. Right. You know, and that's interesting because I know we've talked about your business model before, and that's one of the things that we love about you here at Fairway and why you're one of our preferred referral sources. How much do you charge, and how does that compare to the rest of the industry?
Well, there's kind of 2 modes of charging in the investment advisory industry. It's, kind of either fee-based or commission. Not to say that one is right or wrong over the other one, but you need to know how much you're paying. We have a fee-based model, and that basically means that we have a long-term relationship with our clients. So, I shouldn't say all the time that we're fee-based, but most of the time we are because I'm an independent advisor. I have the ability to kind of cater what that client needs. So we could be either commission-based or charge a flat fee, which is a percentage of the amount of dollars that we're managing. And that starts at 1%, and then depending on the amount that is, it even drops below that. And I guess to put that into perspective, that's kind of the industry norm when you go to a financial advisor. But then you have to also ask, on top of what I'm being charged from my advisor, what are the underlying investments that I'm being invested in costing me? So that's kind of another thing to consider, because we deal with a lot of individual stocks and different investments in their purest form. We are a very low cost provider, and that's kind of what makes us special. We manage everything in house. We research stocks. We're looking at our accounts every day and kind of really doing our homework on what's going to meet the best needs of our clients in a long term perspective. So. By basically, Millie, we've talked about this before. We kind of cut out that middleman, which is typically an insurance company or a investment company, and we do everything in house. So that's what makes a low cost approach.
Less hands in a jar. Very cool.
Less hands in the jar. Yeah.
So here's the Millie hot seat question that everybody has to answer.
What is it?
Tons of financial planners in the Fox cities, right? Tons of people that carry your licensing and your certification. I know why I picked Sheena Hanson at Uncommon Investments, but why don't you tell my people why they invest with you?
It's a pleasure of doing business. We act in the best interest. I act in the best interest of our clients. Everything is really on a consultative basis. We look at the big picture, before suggesting anything. And, at the end of the day, it needs to be the right fit. My client needs to be comfortable talking objectively with me, and I need to be comfortable with that person. I see the relationship as number one, and then number two, making it a value-added service every single time.
Right. That's very cool. And that's why we've become friends over the years, and that's why we have such a common approach to how we handle our clients. And you and I talk about this. I mean, it's about not being transaction-based. It's not about that one account that you take over, that one mortgage that my team and I do. It's about relationships and becoming that person that client can count on and who they can refer their family and friends to and not look the other way. Hey, I got a gal for that. Hey, I got a guy for that. I really appreciate the time you took for us today. It was awesome seeing you, and we'll stay in touch. We'll do this again.
Thanks, Millie. We'll talk soon.
All right. Thanks, Sheena.